to Is This How You Mom? The podcast where we dive into the messy, magical, and downright difficult moments of motherhood.
No rulebook, no judgment, just real talk, raw stories, and a whole lot of figuring it out as we go.
Let's laugh, cry, and wonder together.
Is this how you mom?
Hello.
Welcome back.
It is currently 8 p.m. and this is Saturday night, and you don't know what day it is, and we don't know when this is releasing. But we can probably figure it out.
This is episode number 6.
Wow,
I know.
6.
Halfway.
Crazy.
No. Oh my God. That's more than halfway.
Wow,
Again,
that's even crazier.
Again, it's 8 o'clock and we've had a busy day with the babies.
I wanna say thank you everybody who's watching and listening. I don't know about watching yet. We're gonna have a discussion about that after we record.
Offline, yeah.
Yes, off the record. But if you've stuck with us, this is episode number 6. We are over halfway done with season 1.
Yeah. We're going 10 episodes of season 1.
Yes.
So if you have made it to episode 6, please follow us on whatever platform you're watching.
Mm-hmm.
We've been getting a lot of plays, which is great, but we need the followers as well. So if you like us, follow us. If you don't, still follow us.
And then just spread the word. It was so cute. I don't even know if I told you, but Logan said at work this week, he sent me a screenshot of like his emails with one of his coworkers, and he said, "Hey, this is super random, but do you listen to podcasts?" And it was a woman, and she said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, me and Jarrett's wives started a podcast about being moms. You should listen to it." And he said she was pregnant. He said, "I'm out here promoting."
Oh, we love a supportive husband.
I was like, oh God, it was so cringy though. You should have read the message. And it's probably because I don't text my husband like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so funny. Oh,
it was cute.
What a little sweetie.
But yes, please like, subscribe, follow, share, do all the things.
Ring the bell.
Ring that bell. Get notifications for our
posts. Yeah. So I obviously it's our podcast, so I know when it's getting uploaded. But I did turn on post notifications on my Apple, and it's so fun when I wake up and see it. I'm like,
that's cute.
Cutie.
I should do that. I don't have that. Does Spotify have that?
I'm sure. I don't know. I'm not a Spotify girly. Comment below. Are you Apple or Spotify? Because I don't do Spotify.
But I also don't pay.
Oh my God, you're not a subscription girly, and it literally drives me crazy. I'm like, just pay for it.
I know.
It's fine.
And when I listen to music, it's funny. When I listen to music on Spotify and then a commercial comes on, I think about you because I'm like, I ain't paying for no commercials.
I got in her car, and it's when we like first started actually hanging out outside of like with our at the time boyfriends, and she was like, "Yes, Pandora is going to play ads because she doesn't pay."
Does Pandora do podcasts?
I doubt it. I don't think so.
Yeah, that's true. I haven't listened to Pandora in a hot minute, but.
Welcome to episode 6.
What did we talk about last week?
Oh my God. She has the worst memory ever. Last week was our fun episode. Yes! I hope it was fun for y'all.
I hope it was fun for y'all.
We read, post and commented on it, talked about it. Just kind of took a break from what this podcast is about.
But still,
in the realm of things.
Yes.
Today's episode is about our 4th trimester. Blech.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, 4th trimester. So if you don't know what that is, it's basically just referring to like, obviously in pregnancy you have trimesters, almost said semesters. You have trimester 1, 2, and 3, and then you get your baby. Woohoo!
But that is called the 4th trimester because I don't know why it's called that, but I think it's just because it's a
another phase of hard. Another phase of hard.
Yeah.
For sure.
We both had like our own personal struggles that were like varied, like a little. I agree. We had different struggles.
Yes. Like some same things. Of course, I feel like every person goes through once they have their baby, but very different too because we had very different babies.
Yes. And then we also wanted to talk about I would say probably like the first month of having them, because then
Mhm.
we want to also go into having our spouses home versus away and stuff like that, and then
Yeah.
kind of touch base on like how they were after that first month or two.
Yeah.
Sound like a plan?
Sounds good to me. It's like we came up with it or something. So, coming home after we had our beautiful babies.
Yes.
Coming home was very surreal. I don't know for you, but for me, I talked about it in I think my labor episode.
Mhm.
Just like walking into the house with Jarrett, and when he sat the baby down, I was just like, "Oh my god!"
Were you by? Y'all were by
We were by
yourselves?
ourselves. Yeah, his mom came like maybe 30 minutes after, and she brought so many goodies too. Like
Mhm.
she stacked me up on like lactation snacks and stuff.
Aw,
Yeah,
that's sweet.
and Germix. She went and bought Germix because I like had a
Yeah.
panic freak out, and I was
I
like,
think
I need more Germix.
I think I told Lisa to bring Germix too, because I didn't have any bottles.
Yeah, I was like, no, 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 no. And then I, like, she brought that, and I panic ordered 9 bottles, so I have 8 bottles in my in my closet right now.
No, but and that was also crazy because you go from being in a hospital, which I work in a hospital, and it's not
Mhm.
clean.
Oh.
Like, hospitals are I mean,
Oh, okay, yes, I know what you mean.
they
I
are
was like, whoa.
disgusting. They're filled with sick
Yes,
people.
yes.
But you still feel like you're kind of in this
Mhm.
clean bubble in the
Right.
hospital. You're all taken care
Well, and
of.
yeah, everyone who walks in that room, they're getting the hand sanitizer that's right by the door. They're putting gloves on. They're this, they're that.
Yeah.
It does feel very clean.
And I guess if something were to happen, you knew, like, you're not by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody, if something were to happen, you were in the best place
Yes.
to be.
Yep.
And then you come home and you're by yourself.
Yes, and people are coming in and out of the house, which was I don't want to say this and like hurt anyone's feelings, but we did have a lot of visitors in the first 2 weeks, and I don't know, I even to this day I can't tell if I was like grateful for all the visitors or like overwhelmed by all the
Yeah.
visitors.
I think you were overwhelmed, and I would say this for me too, overwhelmed with the, like, you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
You don't want to I don't want to come off to people like,
Mhm.
oh, this is my baby, you don't touch my baby. I also don't want to come off to people as, oh, wow, she's just leaving
Yeah.
her baby in the room with me. Like,
Yep,
this is
she's
crazy.
just walking away.
It's like you can't win.
I don't know how to act.
Yeah,
and I know so new to me. I don't know what to do.
None of those people would have thought
Oh,
that
yeah,
about
no.
us if we were to have done either or.
Mhm.
But it's like your mind just
I
changes.
didn't know what to do. I was like, should I go lay down? Should I stay in here and
Mhm.
watch him? Especially they're newborn, so I feel like they were just sleeping so much during the day. At least Waylon was sleeping a lot during the day, but I still could not like make myself leave the room.
Yeah.
I was stuck to the couch.
You just
no
wanted
matter
to
how many times
watch.
people told me to go lay down, I was like, can't. I can't do it.
But why?
I don't know.
It's so crazy, right?
Because now I'm like, girl, you've needed that sleep.
The way I would shut my eyes so fast, even
Yeah.
now during her naps, I'm like, oh, I'm
Yep,
going to close my eyes real
No,
quick.
I could not do it at all. And Jarrett was just constantly asking me to go lay down. And I was like, I don't know how to explain it to you.
Mhm.
Like, if I go lay in that bed, I'm not going to sleep because I'm listening out for if he's
Mhm.
going to cry. I also was nursing him. So I'm having to put him on my boob every 2 hours. But also, he was a bad cluster feeder. Is that a cluster feeder? He was cluster fed a lot.
He was a bad
So
cluster feeder.
I feel like he was on the boob and then 24/7 because basically he was eating 40 minutes or 20 minutes each side. Then you have to feed him every 2 hours. So I was only really getting an hour and some change
in between. Yeah.
So I just
Which that's so wild too, because were you told to wake them up? I feel like they did tell me to wake her up, but she was awake.
Yeah. I was told to wake up every 2 hours, even through the night, until he hit birth weight, which
Okay.
can we talk about quickly? Because how soon do they go to the doctor? It's like 2 days.
days.
Okay. So he was born 7 pounds, 13 ounces. When we went to the doctor, because he was always crying, and I was like, bro, are you like, what's wrong? I don't know if you're
Was
getting
he?
enough food. Yeah. From sick. Remember when he had his like
Oh,
terror
yeah,
hour
yeah.
or witching hour or whatever? And he would cry all evening. until I finally would get him to lay down, but he would be up 2 hours later. He would cry all the time, and I was like, I don't think you're getting enough food, but I don't know how much I'm producing because I'm not pumping. I'm just sticking you on, and my milk it took my milk 3 days to come in, and so we're only on like day 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So I'm convinced he's starving.
Oh, and they say to count diapers too. So we were.
Oh my gosh, religiously counting diapers. Yeah.
But were you? Because you didn't.
I didn't have my app.
Yeah.
No, but I was making sure I changed him like every hour and a half. I do know that because my mom told me not to go over 2 hours.
Yeah.
So I went to the doctor, and he was 7 pounds 8 ounces. And I bawled my eyes out in the doctor's office. And the doctor was so sweet. And she was like, "It's okay. It's okay." Oh, and he wasn't pooping. So she had to kind of like help him a little bit. And so then I cried because of that, because he didn't have jaundice when he was born, but she said his levels were reading higher than when he left the hospital because he wasn't pooping. He hadn't pooped in like 3 days.
They checked his jaundice
at the first appointment.
Yeah.
And so I cried. And that was another thing. I feel like so many things are popping in my head was the crying. So the amount of times I cried in the first 2 weeks is actually crazy. But I bawled in the middle of the doctor's office. Jared's exhausted. I'm exhausted. I know the doctor sees it all the time, so she was very nice. But I felt like such a failure. And I'm like, this is only day 5.
But they didn't even tell us that they needed to be back at birth weight by that first appointment. That wasn't like a rule.
No, it was me being like, oh my God, and to me, 13 to 8 for some reason felt like he lost 5 pounds.
Literally. No, I remember you telling me that, and I'm like, it's only a couple ounces.
I know.
It's okay.
Yes, you were making me feel so much better. I don't think you had Lakin yet.
I hadn't had Lakin yet, yeah.
Oh,
So I didn't have that mindset yet.
I was so sick about it. And I specifically remember, not only was I crying because he lost weight, but my stitches were pulling the whole time, and I couldn't just like go adjust my area in the middle of the doctor's appointment. And so every time I stood up or sat, it was hurting.
Wincing, yeah.
So Jarrett finally was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "No, it literally feels like someone's yanking my stitch." Because reminder, I had 8 stitches.
Yeah.
It's only 5 days after I gave birth, and I'm walking in here. So overwhelming. Such an overwhelming feeling, I think, going to that first doctor's visit is.
Yeah.
I don't know. How did you feel during her first doctor's visit?
I don't know. I felt, well, she was at birth weight, but I also was kind of back and forth with the whole breastfeeding because unlike Waylon, Lakin did not sleep. Granted, I'll go back to the whole, I had her at 9 p.m. I don't recommend that because I literally don't recommend that. The first night, they say they sleep. It's like but she didn't.
In the hospital, yeah.
She didn't. I remember she came out, whatever, they make her cry, basically, to get all that fluid out. But then even when people were visiting us for just a second in the hospital room, she would just randomly, like cry.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God,
this is so crazy.
This is foreshadowing. Because I was telling that in the back of my head. I said, great, she's crying. She just came out. I'm sure she's fucking starving.
Yeah.
Poor thing. And I'm over here like, great, I have a crier. But no,
Which is so crazy because he did not cry in the hospital.
Yeah.
I don't remember, except for during his bath and diaper changes.
Yeah, no. She cried. And then, but throughout the night, I don't remember too much crying. I just remember being so exhausted and then not knowing what to do with, like, breastfeeding. I felt bad.
She was having a hard time latching, right?
Yeah, she would latch on, and then it's not like she fell off crying. She just wouldn't take it. And so then, but then after a while, I was like, okay, she's not getting anything. She's crying. She's fussy. And so I ended up asking for a bottle in the hospital. But I think when I came home, I was doing 50-50. I would try to put her on the boob, but it was the same. And she would do good on my boob all day long, and then around 6, no, not even 6, it'd be like 4:35ish, cry, nonstop crying. And so I'm like, okay, have you been starving all day?
Yeah.
And you're just now realizing you're starving? Because I'm like,
I remember these conversations.
I just got you off the boob.
Yes.
But maybe you need to go back. And I didn't. I'll blame it on willpower because I did not have the strength in me to continuously put her on my boob. Whereas, and I feel like you have to do that with breastfeeding.
Yes. It's definitely, you have to just latch.
Yes. And I did not, I
Yeah.
was so tired. I didn't feel, one, I was so tired. Two, I didn't feel like I was doing it right.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I gave up faster.
Well, I remember he would do 20/20, and then I would give him 2 syringes of colostrum too, because he was still crying.
Yeah.
After 40 minutes of feeding, he was still crying.
Yeah.
So I was also starving him.
This is just a personal opinion. I'll get come at. I'll get I'll get came for. What is? I don't know.
I don't like what you're trying to say.
People are gonna come for me, but I 100% believe that breastfeeding, you're starving your baby for at least a week.
Oh no.
but women have to have the willpower and the knowledge to say, no, I am providing for my baby, right? Like your milk just only increases again as you latch and latch and latch.
Mm-hmm.
I did not have the willpower to stick it out. I could not do the crying. I couldn't.
It's just, you can't explain it until you have done it.
Mm-hmm.
The crying gets to you, and especially when you're just so exhausted, it gets to you like on a new level.
Yeah.
I didn't I mean, I'll say I definitely think he was like starving.
But now he ain't.
Oh gosh, he's huge. But he was starving the first like 3 days, 3 or 4 days. When he went to the doctor, and she was like, he hasn't pooped in 3 days, and like she had a little bit of concern, but she wasn't terribly worried.
Mm-hmm.
She then recommended me to latch, pump, bottle. I was so burnt out from that.
Did you do that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh
For 2 days.
Oh.
And everything he was holding in came out. So he definitely needed that extra bottle.
But what's funny is they say breastfed babies don't poop regularly.
No. This was just to get out that black poop. We were trying to get the black out. So once he did that, there you go. He only did a bottle for 2 days, and then we went back to the boob. Milk was in. Everything was great. I mean, great. I was in so much pain. It is definitely that willpower. You definitely have to have it.
And that's what's crazy too is I was latching her, and like I said, for a couple days I was doing everything right. I was never in pain. Never. My nipples never hurt. Again, I didn't do it as long as you, but
they hurt for the first 2 weeks. Like, I remember I would kind of like wince right before I was going to put them on, because I knew like, oh, this is kind of about to hurt. But as soon as, maybe like after a minute of him going, it was fine.
Yeah. And so then I thought, okay, I'm not doing it right. But I remember feeling my letdown.
Yes.
Because you get cramps.
Yes. Oh my God, the cramps.
And it's just a whoosh. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
I felt like a whoosh.
I felt like a rush of just like
weird.
The weirdest feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And I still to this day, pumping, I get like anxious stomach
when
about
you
it.
let down?
Yeah.
Ew.
It's really weird. I get like this really weird pit in my stomach about it.
Yeah.
But breastfeeding, definitely a personal choice. We are both, I feel like I can say, are fed is best.
Yeah.
I don't think either one of us are like, oh, you formula,
No.
oh, you breast milk, oh, you half. Like, no, fed is
what
best.
You gotta do, girl.
100%. I was very determined to breastfeed. It's what I wanted to do. I know some people say like, I don't believe you are missing out on a connection, but I will say there is this different type of connection, because I feel like I've heard before, like, you're not missing out. There's not this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, you're not missing out for sure. Like, because you're getting your experience with your baby. This was my experience with my baby. And I just feel like breastfeeding just gave me this entirely different bond with him.
Yeah. And I definitely, so since I didn't get to breastfeed as long as I wanted to, I definitely did skin to skin with her a lot. Because
I loved skin to skin.
It was told to us, like, even in the hospital, I remember they were like, it just helps everything.
It just does something.
It helps, like, regulate their temperature. It helps, like, with your mood 100%. When you feel anxious.
I remember him screaming bloody murder. Nothing helped. And I was having a borderline meltdown. And I just took everything off of me. Top-wise, I took everything off of him except for his diaper. And we just laid in the bed. Immediately stopped. So it helped. Skin to skin helps so much.
I was naked for like top-wise
Yes.
for the first, like,
Yeah,
2
no,
weeks.
when you're trying to figure it out too, you have to. So when people would come over, oh my gosh, I remember being so embarrassed because I didn't have my nursing pads on. I just had a nursing bra on. And when your milk is regulating for the first few months, you just kind of randomly leak.
Yeah.
And I stand up. I was just sitting there freaking talking. And there's just 2 wet circles on my shirt. And Jared's grandparents were over. I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I was like, BRB, I'm going to go change my freaking shirt.
I definitely I definitely am curious as to how I would react because you're very modest, which is no problem. Like, you wanted to be in a separate room, which honestly, props to those moms who breastfeed at a park. Not because, like, you don't care who's watching. It's just a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I feel like even with me just by myself in a room, I was like, how the fuck do people do this in public?
Yeah.
Because my mind is going 1,000 miles per hour. But then when you're in a park, not only are you worrying about if your baby's doing what they need to be doing, you're worried about outside factors.
Yeah. I remember having this, not like argument with Jarrett, but just talking to him about it of like, no, I am not going to go into another room because to make somebody else comfortable, I'm going to do it for me. And he was like, well, like if XYZ is over, like maybe you can go in the other room. And I was like, no, my baby, his source of food, like I'm not going to be put into another room.
Yeah.
I did choose often to go into another room just because I just didn't know what I was doing.
It's
so I needed to fully whip it out and just be able to figure it out. So most of the time, like my mom and my sisters and you were really good about going into the room with me. So because I used to cry breastfeeding him with if we were at like a family event and I'd have to go in, or I didn't have to go in the other room. I chose to.
Yes.
But I would cry because I knew I was missing so much. So oh my God, my eyes are watering. My mom would come in there every time and she was like, do you want me to sit with you? I was like, yes, Mom, please. Yeah. Make me feel included.
But even when I remember I was still pregnant and we went over to your mom's house and you had Waylon, and even when I went in the other room with you, I don't remember seeing your boobie.
No, yeah, I feel like I was pretty good at trying to cover it, but also it was just figuring it out. Once I got it figured out, I've done it in public before and he was fine.
Yeah.
But when you're figuring it out and if you're not comfy, go into another room just so you can let it all out and just figure it out. But having people with you is helpful too. And having a supportive spouse, because I know Jarrett was like, God, I want to give this baby a bottle so he'll stop crying.
Yes.
But he knew how determined I was and he was like, please keep going.
Well, and I think it helped too that you might not think that, but you were very confident in like what you were doing. Whereas that motivates him too. Like, oh, okay, she knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be here.
I can't tell you how much research I did on breastfeeding. Yeah. Because I just wanted to be good at it, question mark. I wanted it to go well. Yeah. So
I definitely thought, oh, it's natural. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
And if you think that, and it for some people it might, but it was not the case for me.
Yeah, it's 100% a different mindset you have to be in. And it's no shame if you do or don't have the mindset. It's hard. It's hard. Making formula is hard. I told Jared, I was like, Jared, I don't want to go and have to scoop formula. No, I don't want to deal with that. I just want to whip my boob out.
Yeah.
So I know, hard.
No bottles, no washing bottles.
Yeah, I remember you talking about washing bottles. I was like, what's that?
What is that? How do you do that?
I wash my haka. That's it.
Yeah.
So.
And then, so I tried to breastfeed, but I ended up just pumping. Even that's hard. That is really freaking hard. But
pumping's hard.
I think she got like half and half bottles until like she was 6 or 7 weeks, and then a bitch gave out. Yeah, she was formula baby, and she's strong, girl.
She is strong.
Yeah, but then
let's kind of dive into. I guess it kind of correlates with all the crying, just like postpartum hormones, baby blues.
Yeah. But what is the difference?
I don't know.
You don't know? Like, you really don't?
No, I don't know. Because,
okay.
So, I would say the first 2 weeks for sure. Like, 2 weeks on the dot, I cried every single night for an hour from 7 to 8. Because whether it was, like, Jarrett would ask me why I was crying and I didn't have an answer. But I can kind of think, like, I would have these, like, anxious thoughts of like, I don't want to die because my whole entire heart is sitting in a bassinet right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to put him down and then go into the other room because I don't want to leave him. But I need to not, like, I'm not ready to go to sleep yet and I don't want to wake him. I didn't want to shower because I was anxious that if I made a single noise, he was going to wake up. I mean, there's just so many different things making me cry every night.
You can't.
But I'm like, is that baby blues? Or is that the fact that my hormones are just dropping?
Or like that or postpartum anxiety.
Which we have determined.
Which we have determined, but I feel like mine hit way faster than yours did.
I also think I was like in denial. It took a lot of you being like, no.
It doesn't have to be like this.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I remember there was so much to do. Because I feel like the list doesn't end. And that was one of the hard things to come to realizing. Like, once I did bring her home, I said, wow, there is not a single moment now that I'm not going to have anything to do.
Yep.
Like, right now, I could think of 10 things at home that need to be done.
I remember, because I like to be busy person. I don't like to just sit around. And so on the weekends, especially when I was pregnant and we're just sitting around waiting for the baby, Jarrett made this one comment and he was like, I can't wait for you to have this baby because then you'll never be bored again. Lord, was he correct?
Yeah, for real.
I don't stop.
No.
I got home from your house today and I was like, ugh, I have to wash the pitcher and the bottles and my breast pumps and my gosh. And then I had to set everything up and it just never stops.
Yeah. And then it was like that as soon as we got home, there was always like laundry that could be done. There's always, for me, like bottles, I was pumping, so there was pump parts to do. Oh, now I have to fucking eat. Now I have to eat.
You do.
I didn't want to eat.
Eat and drink.
Eat and drink. Like, there's no time in the day. I remember thinking that, like, on the couch. I was like,
how do you feel about 3 months off? Like, do you think that's enough time, or do you think that it needs to be longer?
I think for my sanity, 3 months was a good spot.
Yeah.
Because I needed, she was colicky. We had a rough, I would say 3.5 months. I was sad that I had a baby.
Yeah. Which is fine.
Yeah, which is fine. I needed that time apart.
I mean, I don't want to say hard baby.
No, yeah.
But she just wasn't adjusting to life and she wanted to be back in your belly.
Yeah. And I feel like going to work made me be able to miss her and find that connection to her, which I don't want to say I wasn't connected, but I want to say for the first month, I was just trying to keep her alive.
I would say it's a new level of utter exhaustion. And you're mad at everything and everybody, and you're sleep deprived, and you have a baby screaming, and all you can do is feed her or put her to sleep.
Yeah, yeah.
If you don't want her to be upset.
Literally. And then, bless you.
Thanks.
We have husbands.
We do have those. Still.
Thank the Lord. We have husbands who work at the same job now, and Logan started working with Jarrett 3 months, 4 months before Lakin came. Their company is very well off with maternity and paternity
yeah,
leave.
Very generous. They get full paid 3 months, but
you have to work for...
Yes, you have to work there for a year.
Yeah. So Logan did not get that perk, but Jarrett did. So Logan was off with me.
I think it ended up being 3 weeks. The way it fell, it was like right at 3 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, and Jarrett was home for 3 months.
3 months. So 3 weeks versus
Let's
3 months.
Let's just all think about spending every day with your spouse and a newborn for 3 months, people.
We're all figuring it out.
You go through some hardships.
Yeah, yeah. I'd say that first week, I remember my mom took off because she wanted to be there to help us out. So Monday through Friday, she came over. She probably got there at 8, and then she left at 4 for 5 days straight.
That's a full-time job.
It is. It is. But it's crazy, too, because I was like, God, I don't need your help during the day. I need your help at night, because she was a psycho baby at night. Like, that's when it was the
rough.
hardest. So, but I remember Mom came over, so it was easy. It was nice to have that help because she helped me with Lakin when I was pumping, but she was like, "Hey, I have the baby. Like, y'all get some rest," because we were not really sleeping that well at night.
You already don't sleep well, and then you have a baby who isn't sleeping well, and it just makes it 10 times harder.
Yes, and I remember, like, Logan would sleep in when Mom got home. He would go lay back down. But he can sleep like that too. Number one, number two, he wasn't the mom.
Yes,
so I just feel like
it's an entire different feeling.
It's a different thing, but he took it literally, and he was like, "Oh,
I'm gonna rest.
Oh, Lakin's taken care of. You're with your mom. What is there to do with me?" But in my head, I'm like, "Bitch, you can get up. You can come wash the bottles.
Yeah.
You can come sit here anxiously looking at your daughter." But it's different. So I feel like there were definitely that first week there was so much tension, and I remember I would like explode at Logan in front of my mom, and my mom was kind of like, "Oh, shat." But she was a good mediator. Like, I'm glad she was there, because not saying he would have reacted anyway, but just to be like, "Hey, chill out."
Yes.
Like, I'm here.
Yep.
He is doing everything that he needs to be doing.
My mom had to give the same reminders for sure, especially because our parents we're both close with our moms, so they can just talk to us a little bit different.
Yeah,
They can help us kind of realize, oh, maybe that was a little bitchy, and they've both been through it, so they both understand the overwhelming feeling of being a new mom. Hey, it gets better. Yeah. So let's calm down.
Yeah, for real. But I remember during the day, and again, this is common with newborns. Again, nobody tells you this stuff, but newborns
this is why I read so freaking much. Yeah, and I hated it.
But
this is why we're here.
That is true, because I feel like I'd mention something to you, and you would say,
and I was doing it like 10 days prior before you too. Yeah. So it was weird where she would mention, which Waylon was a really good night sleeper, so that was hard. I feel like I was constantly reading things, trying to help you, like, what are we finding?
Yeah, no. But with newborns, it is very common that they have their days and nights mixed up. So I felt like she was sleeping so good during the day. She was
really good.
I had to wake her up during the day to eat, and then once 4:30 hit, when Mom had just left the house, boom. Like, I was constantly battling, like, what the hell's going on? Same thing at night. She didn't sleep well in the bassinet. Every now and then I'd fall asleep with her on my chest, but I was very much anxious.
And you're not, like, asleep, you know?
Yes,
you're, like,
halfway asleep. Yeah. So I was not getting good sleep with her on me either. Shout out to the people who can co-sleep. I just didn't. I was not comfortable.
That's what I was going to say is I feel like you can find people that, like, crap so hard on co-sleeping, but sometimes, like,
if that's what, again.
I'm exhausted. We made it a point where we were trying not to co-sleep as best as we could, and majority of the time he slept in his bassinet, but there were times where it was like 5, not even, probably 3, 4 a.m., and I was like, okay, we're going to do these next 2 hours on me because I can't.
Well, and I think it was definitely during the first week of her being home, but I remember I was asleep, and it was at night, and I literally shot up because I thought she was on me, but she wasn't. She was in her bassinet. I was just so exhausted, and from that point on, I was like, I cannot fall asleep with her on me, because what if she was on me and I just flung her across the room?
Is that called anything other than being exhausted? Because I was religious about feeding him every 2 hours. So I had alarms set at midnight too, blah, blah, whatever math. And I remember my, like, 2 a.m. alarm would go off, and I would wake up and I would be like, oh my God, I missed his feeding. Or, oh my God, is he in the bed? Like, where is he? I wouldn't even remember that I had put him in the bassinet.
Yeah.
So what is that? Is that just utter exhaustion?
No, I think that's just being exhausted. And it sounds so bad, but you set alarms to feed him. I didn't have to. I didn't, but I wasn't even worried, because I was like, a bitch needs to fucking sleep. And and I had that mindset. If she's hungry, she's gonna wake up and eat.
And I definitely had a different one. Yeah. I wouldn't even say until maybe 2 months ago, could I go a minute past his feeding time. It just,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just something about, I don't know if it's because I'm like a routine scheduled person or I'm like no, this is this time. That's the same thing, whatever. But I can't, it just makes me want to throw up thinking about feeding him past when he's supposed to. It just,
But even now, the guides say like 3.5 to 4 hours.
And he hasn't been finishing his bottle before bed. And they say that they should be getting 4 to 5 bottles. So that's his 5th bottle.
Mm-hmm.
So I have been having to tell myself the last like 2 nights,
okay.
like, it's okay. He has had 4 full bottles today. This is the 5th one. It's okay if he doesn't finish his last ounce.
Yeah.
But
No, I was definitely letting her wake up. But Logan was really good for the first, I think it was maybe a week that I was waking up and I was waking him up because he does not wake up to crying. He, even to this
deep
day,
sleeper.
Yeah, he does not wake up to her. So I would wake up, I would get her, I would change her diaper, and at that point I would tell him, hey, go get a bottle ready or whatever. But he would immediately go back to sleep, like, as I'm feeding her.
Yeah.
But it makes me sick thinking about how tired I was during that time. Even, like, feeding her, I could fall asleep and be like, fuck.
Which apparently I didn't know this was a thing until I started reading about it, because every time I'd breastfeed him, which, again, it's 2 a.m., so, like,
you're tired.
Of course I'm falling asleep as I'm feeding him, but when you breastfeed, it releases something that makes you even more tired.
Yes.
So
isn't that some shit?
I would have to turn my flashlight on and like hold it in my face and try not to fall asleep while feeding him.
I totally remember that feeling.
I was just like literally I was dozing off, like almost like when you everyone knows that feeling I'm talking about, where you're like dozing off. And Jarrett, he wasn't not good at waking up. I remember his mom digging on his butt a little bit because I was crying in the car after the baby's first doctor's appointment, and I was exhausted because I'm waking up every 2 hours. And Jarrett had said to his mom like how he didn't wake up the night before, and his mom was like, Jarrett, you need to wake up and sit with her, even if it's just for this first week.
Yeah.
Wake up and sit with her, because it's so lonely. It's the most lonely feeling just feeding him by myself, because I didn't have the help of Jarrett making a bottle or anything, which he did offer. He was like, if you give me a bottle, I'll do it. But I was really nervous about nipple confusion.
Yes.
So I didn't do that. But
it's just such a hard thing. Like, there's really nothing you can do but just sitting
being awake with me, and like I'm not alone. It's like that TikTok where it's like, you're not the only one. Like, and it's like all the mothers, like, we're all doing it. Even though we're not doing it together, we're still doing it together.
And I think that's what was fun too about, like, thank God you're a person that texts, because it was so comforting to, like, I woke up and say it was like 2 a.m., but I just got a text from you at 1:45, so I would text you, and of course you'd still be awake. So it was,
we were constantly, knowing that you were up. Yeah. I'm up. We're both freaking tired.
Yes.
Both feeding our babies. So he did do a good job, though, a few days after that. But then you get to that point of like, well, we can't both be exhausted. So he would then, at like the 7, 8 a.m. mark, he would get up with Waylon and like take him into the other room so I could sleep for like, an hour? But still something. And then he would like make me my breakfast and everything.
Yeah.
That stopped once we got a little too irritated with each other.
No, but so Logan was only off for 3 weeks, and I remember it was like 2 days.
I don't know how you did it.
It was 2 days before he went back to work, so I was like, crap, I should probably, which I understand, I'm tired, and I can get hate for this too, but I told myself, I was like, he's about to go back to work. I know what I'm doing at home isn't easy, but I don't want him to be tired.
Yes.
That just didn't sound right. So I was trying to get in the groove of doing everything by myself at night, and I remember that was just so hard. I was like, holy shit.
It is hard.
And then being by myself during the day. But I think for that first week that he was back at work, I had someone come help me every day.
Yeah.
So that was nice. But then I wouldn't even let them help, because I was like, well, shit, I'm going to have to do this by myself eventually. So I wasn't even letting anybody help.
Which, how much we talked, I don't think we really even saw each other the first month of their lives.
No. I mean, maybe.
We definitely saw each other.
No, yeah.
But it was nothing to where now.
Yeah.
because neither one of us were leaving the house.
We were housebound for sure.
100, especially with
Mhm.
just how fussy she was. You were like, nope,
I
I'm
can't.
good.
I can barely do it at home. I could not imagine. Like,
Yeah, because everyone has that guilt when their baby's crying somewhere else.
Yeah.
You do feel bad, which you shouldn't. Babies
No,
cry.
yeah.
Everyone else who's bothered can get the frick over it.
Yeah, yeah.
But
it's just hard. And then just dealing with, because now I'd say leaving the house, I'm not going to say it's easy, but I'm definitely used to it.
Yeah.
But for sure, even doctor's appointments, I was like, what the fuck?
How long do you think you rode in the back with her?
Probably until she was like 4 months old.
Yeah, I feel like I rode in the back for a while.
Yeah. But then when Logan went back to work, I had to drive
I
with
remember
her.
the first time taking him by myself
Yeah.
was to your house, and he screamed bloody murder the entire drive. I was like, nope, I'm not driving home. I'm not driving home. I'm staying the night.
Do you remember if he cried the whole way home?
I don't know.
She did not like the car seat.
No.
For the first 2 months, I'd say.
I didn't.
No, first 3 months. Cause
yeah. I constantly had to like keep reaching my hand back there. I would like hold my hand over his face just so he knew I was there. And then if I was driving, I couldn't do that, so I would have to just listen to him scream.
Yeah, no, I purposefully got, and I still feel like I kind of have that anxiety about going places with her by myself, even though she does really well in the car seat now. It's still just that
PTSD is
real.
Yeah, it's so real. We were sleep training, and then they went. Well, Waylon had a really bad regression, but I remember during his regression of like, oh my God, we're going back to this, because I thought I was tired. Newborn tired is a whole different tired. Like, you can't explain it. But then when I hit that 3-month mark and he wasn't sleeping, I was down bad.
Yeah.
Down bad on the no sleep. You don't realize how much you need sleep until it gets taken away from you.
Literally. No, I'd say I got, because Waylon slept really good in the bassinet. Lakin did not. I moved Lakin into her crib at 8 weeks old. You didn't move.
Oh my gosh, was it really? That's so crazy.
But you didn't move Waylon until like...
He was maybe 3.5.
3.5 months.
Yeah, it got to that point of, so like, here's a question listeners you might have. When should you move your baby? Personally, when you freaking want to. Because in my opinion, that's what's best, because Lakin did really well in her crib, and it made me like, well, I say that with like, you know, she was doing okay. She still was having her little time, but Waylon was doing really well in the bassinet, and then one night he just stopped, and I was like, oh, what's going on here?
I don't think so. I don't think that. I feel like he was getting sensitive to like if Jarrett coughed. He was like getting bothered by the noise. He was over the noise, like the creaking of the bed. If I tried to move in and out, over it. Yeah.
And then he was waking me up because he was active sleeping, and he was throwing his damn legs up and down.
Yeah.
So I moved him into his crib, and he did amazing. And I cried because, of course, it's going to be my, like, I'm going to get a sweatshirt that said, I cried. He did so good. And I got, like, I'm not going to say good sleep, but, like, decent sleep.
Yeah.
That first night he slept in his crib.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I definitely think me moving Lakin, and not saying she did good, but you just seeing like, oh, it's okay.
It is okay.
Yeah. Because they do recommend you
6 months.
6 months?
I think it's the first 6 months.
There is no way.
Because he's 8 months, so I could not imagine him only being in there these last 2 months.
Yeah.
He's been in there for so long, but he wouldn't have even fit in the, especially Lakin, absolutely not. She would have been so over that bassinet. She moves way too much.
And she was a side sleeper. She moves a lot in her sleep still to this day, and I can just remember it now in newborn. Like, she just moved so much. I just never felt like she was getting good sleep in the bassinet. But just the anxiousness.
I mean, the anxiety never goes away. I was just on TikTok, and I'm not going to say never goes away, but it was a post saying that she didn't feel like herself until like 19 months. And she finally was like, this like anxiety is settling. Finally.
Yeah, I'd say probably
19 months. That's a long
19
time.
months. I mean, I feel better.
Oh yeah, I feel better, but I still get worked up.
Yeah.
Like today when I walked in your house and he was not asleep, I wanted to vomit.
I think you just need more medication.
I need all the meds.
Yeah.
Give me them all, please.
It's just the schedule thing. And again, some people can say, oh, I have 4 kids. I never did a schedule. Great
That's
for
great.
you. I'm so happy for you. But I think it's postpartum anxiety for sure. And I think mine hit as soon as I got home. Yours did not hit until you went back to work.
Yeah.
And I was crying every day. Again, you're already crying from 4:30 until on. I would just sit on the couch and I just start crying.
Isn't
and Logan
it?
would be like,
It's
what
just
the
so
heck?
like, oh, I hate it because I have friends before me who had babies, and I just feel so bad not being there. But
I
then
know.
also, I think like if anyone was like texting me, I would have been like, I don't have the energy or the willpower to
I
text
don't know
you back.
what to
Like,
say. I don't
can't.
know why I'm sad.
Yeah.
Or is it
Like,
sadness?
How are you
Is
doing? I'm crying every single night. I love my baby, but this is the weirdest thing is like I know I love him. Of course I love him to death, but when I first had him, it was like, do I love you because I love you, or do I love you because I know I'm supposed to love you?
Yeah,
and I think that was just such a hormone shift that I didn't even know like what was going on.
Yeah.
And it was like it was just the weirdest feeling. Like I don't know how to explain it.
Literally surviving.
You're not alone, I can tell you that. If you're having a baby, if you feel
It's
crazy. I remember
okay.
we would text each other like, am I a bad person for feeling this way? Because you do. You just feel so many emotions.
You shouldn't, don't feel the need to say like, I'm sorry, but which I've been saying it throughout this whole episode, but it's okay if you are not feeling connected to your baby because I was not for the first 3 months. And then when I went back to work, I finally was like, I can breathe now.
Yeah.
Oh, I do miss you. I do love you. You're getting better.
Yeah.
That sounds so bad. I'm sorry, but God.
I feel like I had the complete opposite of like I loved him too much to where it was hurting me more. Where like I couldn't walk away.
Yeah.
I could not leave him. It was so bad. That's why I finally got on anxiety medication because I couldn't go anywhere without him being right next to me.
Yeah.
And it's still like it's not healthy to feel that way.
No.
Like
it's again, people will say, "Oh, well, they'll get older." I know they'll get older, but you still have to have time for yourself. You still have to shower.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
And what's crazy is I remember
tell me what's crazy.
I remember you're bleeding. Let's not forget that.
Oh my
you're
gosh,
on your period for what?
Bro,
4
those
weeks?
diapers were A1.
They're 4 weeks. We were what? 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah, I was bleeding.
You're
for a
bleeding,
while.
and I remember, like, God, I have to go because those diaper changes aren't quick, and I would literally rush through everything. Honestly, when I'm overwhelmed, I think my brain suppresses pain, and I remember I would get in bed every night and be so sore down there, but I think it's because I overexert myself.
Yeah.
Because stuff has to get done, and then I'm putting myself through pain, but I'm not realizing I'm in pain until I'm able to calm down. But thankfully, I didn't have any complications from that. But I remember being like, "Holy crap!"
No, I didn't rest, and I do regret that. I remember I don't know if I was like just sweeping or something, and my mom was over here, and she was like, "Stop doing stuff. Like sit down and rest." But again, I'm not a good sit down person. I hate sitting down. Yeah. But you just birthed a whole baby. Sit your butt down. And I remember I went to this graduation party, and she was saying like, "Oh no, I don't let my daughter leave the bed for 2 weeks like after she has a baby." And I was like, "Yeah, I bet my mom would do that too, but I literally won't let her because I cannot not do something."
Yeah. How was being so Logan went back to work after 3 weeks. How was Jarrett's paternity leave?
Do I recommend you spend 3 months with your spouse after a baby? No, not really. I think a month was good. 2 months would have been great. 3 months was just pushing it. I mean, you are just so irritable at that point.
I think it was number one, new baby for both you and him, so y'all are both learning. You had hormone changes.
I'm very type A. I have to have everything my way. Yes. And he is a new dad. And he
does not know.
He has zero idea. He did zero reading. He's going up. I remember having him change a freaking teddy bear, and he put the damn diaper on backwards. I was like, oh no, I'm doing like a week, and you're putting diapers on backwards.
Yeah.
I am very grateful that he stuck it out through that, because it was a hard 3 months for sure. I think we grew closer and also got on each other's damn nerves. I know that I could stick with them forever now because God, we survived that.
You did that. I definitely think the hardships that y'all went through were only heightened by being with each other 24/7.
100%. As soon as we both went back to work, which actually is like a full, like, we were together 24/7, and then he works second shift. So he works 3 p.m. to midnight. I work 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. So we went from seeing each other every day to, as soon as we went back to work, we did not see each other until that Saturday.
Yeah.
And that was a complete shift. So that almost was like, it was too much not seeing each other. And we both were like, whoa, wait a minute. It was just hard. I don't think there's anything I can say other than it was hard.
Yeah.
But it was also, I couldn't ask for more quality time. Like, getting to see him with the baby that long and everything was really sweet.
Yeah. And I think, too, with, I think they'll be with the same company, I'm sure, when we do have our second kids.
I think so, too.
But I can see where that 3 months would be helpful when you do have more than one child, because...
And see, he's scarred from it, so he doesn't want to take another 3 months. And I was like, no, baby, you got to take Waylon.
Yeah.
You and Waylon boy are going to leave mom and baby alone.
Yes, literally.
So I think he'll take it, too. Also, it's just, I mean, it's such a generous offer from where they work, so just take it. I think he'll take it. It'll give us really good time with new baby and Waylon.
Yes. And then, again, having that, he already knows what to do now.
Yeah.
But then on top of that, now he gets to have Waylon aside. So just experience, which sucks. You know, like, oh, you have to go through it, and now I know what I'm doing, kinda.
Yeah.
Because even now, if I were to go to one of my friends and say, hey, I've been through this, when you get home, this is what you need to do.
Yeah.
You're still not going to do it.
Exactly. My thing is, like, do you think you would have felt better? I think I remember telling you, I don't want to scare you, but this is what I'm feeling. Because, again, I was on day 10 when you had your baby. So I was already a week into these emotions. I was telling you every night of, like, or maybe I didn't want to scare you.
No, I think it's one of those things where you're like, like, you don't know how bad it is until you're in
okay. So, like, me explaining, you're like, like, maybe that's just her reaction.
Because even now...
maybe she's just a sissy.
Yeah. No, not even that. It's just like, getting up every other hour, like, whatever. Yeah. It's okay. No. Not after day 4.
That newborn exhaustion. Please comment below your newborn exhaustion stories.
Actually, no. Comment below if you prefer...
Oh, I'm sorry. Scratch my idea.
Comment below if you prefer pregnancy tired or newborn tired.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. And then we'll know if you freaking listened.
If you're fucking pregnant, you better take your ass to sleep.
Pregnant with no baby?
Take your ass to sleep.
Right now.
Close your computer.
Right now.
Delete the app off your phone.
Don't do that.
Go to sleep.
No, I'm sorry. Don't do that. We need the followers.
What were some other items on our list that we need to talk about?
That we need to talk about?
I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I think we really got it. Other than, like, here's a crazy thing I did was freeze my baby out because I was
just about to mention
I thought that he was... Okay, so... What's the saying? And it's freaking so sad. Like, cold they cry, hot they bleh. You know, that's the saying. Cold they cry, hot they, So it freaked me out. I saw that saying on, like, TikTok or something. And I was terrified of overheating my baby. So this poor little baby was sleeping in our room with 2 fans on. They weren't on high. I turned them on low. Don't come at me. 2 fans on.
Fans are good for SIDS.
Exactly. SIDS. Yeah. Yes. That's what I read. Listen, I read it all.
Yeah.
So.
And pacifiers.
Yeah, we did do passies. And he did a short sleeve, like, no pants onesie with a swaddle on.
Did you put socks on?
No, my baby was cold.
I remember you coming home from the hospital. Again, I hadn't had Lakin yet, but you kept texting me, like, I just feel like he's hot. I keep checking his temperature. Like, you checked his temperature regularly.
Every hour.
And that's
it had to be.
and it's such a real, like, fear when you come home but even in the hospital, they only check it every 4 hours.
Well, in the hospital, they had him double swaddled because he couldn't get his temp up. And I'm fucking over here.
So that was PTSD. You were like, well, he was cold at the hospital. I don't want that to happen here.
Yeah.
Again, they can't freaking tell you if they're hot or they're cold. You can't feel their head. You can't feel their feet.
You gotta feel their back. I don't want to disturb him. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I just didn't know so much. And I look back at me now, and I feel so sad for postpartum me, like first 2 weeks, because I just want to go and hug her because she was really struggling with all the thoughts.
Yeah, yeah. And so you had him in a short sleeve, in a swaddle.
Yes.
Every time that baby's getting diaper changed.
It was freezing. Now he sleeps in a long sleeve with the freaking thermal sleep sack on.
Yep.
God, mom fail.
But he slept good.
Yes, he did. He did sleep good.
And
so
I remember when he would scrunch to the corner of the bassinet, and you were like, I read that means that they're cold.
But then I had actual anxiety when I put him in a long sleeve.
Yes. Or
I wouldn't even during the day, like when he was playing in the living room, I would not put him in a long sleeve. I couldn't.
I can't
because it's also June, so it's hot as hell.
It was summer, yes. I remember, she was 3 weeks old, I think, and so she was still in the bassinet with me. And I remember, I'm already hot-natured, so it was very hard to not want to turn the air down, but I knew for her sake I couldn't, and even now, it's, like 50 degrees outside? I do not turn my heat on until it gets below 50 degrees in the house, normally. Now that I have a baby, I can't fucking do that anymore. But I remember one night I woke up. She wasn't awake, but I woke up from heat. I had beads of sweat on my chest, and our air conditioner went out.
Oh, I was about to say, you don't think that was postpartum sweats? Because I didn't have postpartum sweats.
I didn't have postpartum sweats either, but no,
so
I had
your AC. I remember your AC.
I had beads of sweat on me.
It's June in Texas.
June in Texas. So I remember I kind of thought that it might have been postpartum, but I'm always hot. So I went to check the thermostat. 77 degrees in that motherfucking house. I was like, oh my God. I woke her up because I was so freaking scared because they say hot babies.
Yes, exactly.
So I remember me and her, I didn't sleep that night, I don't think. I went in the living room, I turned the fan on, and I just laid her on me. And she went to sleep. I didn't sleep. But Mom was, and then I called the air condition people, and I was like, hey, blah, blah, blah. And they said, oh, okay, we'll call you when we're on our way. And Mom came over, and she said, did you tell them you have a 3-month-old? I said, well, no. And she said, call them back and say, I have a 3-month-old because they'll make you a priority.
Yeah, for sure.
Crazy.
No, I've never worried about somebody's body temp so much in my life. And I'm a naturally, I am a cold person all the time. Yeah. So I never know what to do. Even
then, we were worried, like, say they slept 2 hours, and then the next time they slept, like, an hour and 30 minutes, we were like, okay, did she sleep longer because she got fed good? Did she sleep better because she wasn't cold or hot? Did she sleep better because...
I didn't mention this, but when we were talking about breastfeeding, but a lot of anxiety about how much he was intaking. I hate that feeling.
Even though he was gaining weight.
He was gaining so well, but in my head, I was not giving him enough. It's just crazy how much... Get out of your head. Literally, get out of your head.
Yeah.
Right now, get out of your head.
And what's funny, too, is you are such a type A, write everything down, blah, blah, blah. But the fact that you went on for so long not knowing how much this man was eating.
If I would have had a weighted changing table like you did, I would be down the rabbit hole bad.
Thank gosh.
So, I did not have a tracking app. Haley introduced me to this tracking app when my son was 2 weeks old.
I didn't think you'd take it this far.
My baby is 8.5 months old right now, and I am still using this tracking app. It's going right now.
I didn't think you'd take it this far.
I can't break it.
Yes, you can. Delete the app.
Nope.
Why do we need it?
I can't do it. You're not listening. Turn your listening ears on. I can't do it. Do not honestly, download it. If it helps you, download it. If it doesn't help you, don't download it. If it's going to give you anxiety the way it gives me anxiety, don't do it.
I think the reason
I've never been so mad at you in my life.
I think the reason I did it was because you go from being in this hospital and they
where
have
everyone's waking you up, they're telling you what
have
schedule.
you write down each diaper change, each feeding.
They give you like a form to take home, and it gives you like the first week's worth that you
So then in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm doing this for 3 days, and I'm just supposed to go home and not do this?
Not count it. And you can't keep it. You cannot remember. It was the most helpful with me getting to write down which boob I had just done on breastfeeding. That was really helpful. And then, y'all, I got hooked. I'm still hooked.
She's running his time. How long has he been asleep?
He has been asleep for 2 hours, 28 minutes, and 32 seconds.
Listen.
Don't do it. If you're not down the hole yet, don't do it. Because I'm down bad, y'all. I'm going to delete it. And he's here.
You've already learned by now that we are both anxious people. Anxiety.
Did you know we're on anxiety meds?
Because we are. And I talked her into it.
She did.
But yeah, just knowing that
we're all going through it.
Yeah.
Whether you're going through it, been through it, going to eventually go through it because you're cooking a little sweet baby right now, please reach out to us.
Yeah.
We'll give you all the tips, tricks, and PTSD moments.
to end like our combo, what would be like, so say one of your friends, or let's just say your sister is pregnant, she's about to have her baby. What would be like one thing that you would for sure do for her in that, like, let's say first week back home with the baby?
I would offer to clean the house.
Yeah.
It was the most helpful thing that someone did for me. Because I cannot sit down. So then I was trying to clean something and someone always came to clean the house. Oh, or I'm doing 2 things. Bring them a meal. It was so nice not having to cook. I was about to
say, yeah.
Bring them a meal. Offer to clean. Offer to bring a meal. Do not offer to watch the baby while they do X, Y, Z.
Yeah. I was about to say either I would offer to clean up around the house, or I would.
So considerate.
I would just. I would offer to like make food for them because I had the hardest time. Again, I'm already so busy. The thought of me having to eat a meal, I was like, God, and I got to do that.
I don't think we cooked for 2 weeks.
Just to have something prepared.
Yep. We had someone bringing us food every night. We had the best family and friends.
Yeah.
So
same. My mom, I made like freezer stuff.
Yeah. Jarrett's mom made us chicken spaghetti, and she's so sweet. She had it like ready like a week ahead.
Yeah.
She was
same.
ready.
My
just
mom,
like froze it.
my mom and my aunt like stocked our fridge. Also, I had shout out to Carrie. She brought us some food, and then she brought a big old pan. I don't even know what it was. I need to ask her for this recipe, but it was a big old pan of like cake and ice cream. We ate on that hoe for a good month. But it was just so nice to have something sweet and easy to scoop out or whatever. Yeah. But yeah.
No, good. Yeah. Yeah. So, like we said in the beginning, please like, share, follow, subscribe, and what? Ring that bell.
We, next week we're going to be talking, so this is episode 6. Shit, what's episode 7?
I, for the first time, can't tell you what episode 7 is.
Aww. We do know what episode 7 is, but we can't tell you, so.
It's on.
It's a surprise!
Yeah, so thanks for listening. We hope you enjoy all of our 4th trimester she's.
Yeah, sorry if we scared you.
Oh, yeah. It's fine. You know, it truly does get better.
It does. Bye.
Bye.